Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all well. So just a quick overview for anybody who doesn't know who Conscious are. We are a digital marketing agency based in Bristol, but work throughout the UK for law firms and only law firms. So anybody from a sole practitioner through to multi-partner law firms dealing with either their website, social media marketing, digital marketing, or pay-per-click. The topic we're going to discuss today is the website client journey. I do encourage questions because the more questions you guys ask, the more you'll get out of this session. No such thing as a stupid question, just a stupid answer back. So websites have come a long way in the last 5-10 years, and no longer are they just a simple, let's just chuck a couple of images up, some contact numbers, and then see where it goes from there. Basically, we are, being a Google partner, we get a lot of insight into how websites are behaving, the audience that they need to attract, but most crucially as well, what Google actually states is they don't like websites. What they actually like is how the client's journey is. How are they getting the information they need? Are they able to access it and click through and go through to the relevant areas? So what we're going to cover off is some of the ways that a client will navigate throughout a website, features that will encourage them to stay on your website for longer, and ultimately the end goal, the longer they stay on there, the more they're likely to engage with you and then further, do business with yourself. So there are essentially two types of websites. There is, I'll just show you now, let me just click through. We've got lead generating, so that's Tilly Bailey Irvine, the top one. And then we've got this one, which is Stuart Walker Hersant. Basically, I do like this one. It reminds me of holidays. They are based in the Cayman Islands. But the difference between these two sites is this one is lead generating, and this is big impressions. In other words, this is your private client, commercial, or a fully serviced law firm. And this one is for commercials. This is the big impressions, a wow factor, if you will. Okay, so we've got the various, we've got all the service areas, all the address areas, got the social media element, and we've got their multiple service areas. This one is more about the big impressions, so big imagery. We've got the contact us or the call to actions, but it's more you're wowed by the big impressions coming through. So if you're looking at creating or potentially doing a redesign of your current website, you need to ask yourself, which one are we? Are we going to be lead generating, or are we just here for the big impressions? With the lead generating, they tend not to be, you're not going to win many design awards with it. You probably will with the big impressions because of the photography or the features you may want to invoke. The lead generating is going to be more where you're putting call to actions, boxes where you want a client to fill in, a lot of content, and optimizing further from those two. Okay. So how do your clients find you at the moment? Hopefully, everybody on the call will have something called Google Analytics attached to your website. If you don't, you need to get it on there because otherwise you won't know where your clients are coming from. You don't know if they're coming from social media, if they clicked on an email, if they've searched for you direct. Okay, so you need to understand that. By the way, Google Analytics is free to install. Google wants you to use Analytics, and there is a plethora of information that you can find from Google Analytics. And I'll explain that shortly afterwards. Now, we do this a lot. We are looking at mobiles more and more than we are on any other media or screen throughout there at the moment. Hopefully, I'm not sure if, hopefully if you can answer on one of this. Does everybody own a TV? Mostly everybody will say yes. And does everybody own a mobile or a tablet? Typically, you would say yes. What you're doing there, Google classes it as double screening. Okay, so you may be watching the TV and you're on your phone, or you're writing an email and you're also on your phone at the same time. What it is, this number is getting bigger and bigger. We look at more screen-based imagery, or we're looking at screens rather than printed or radio-based media at the moment. So this is going to get less, and this is going to get higher. Okay, so 4.5 hours, I'd probably say that we're spending more time than that looking at screens. What with now the likes of, Apple Watches or the smart watches, gone are the days now of print. And I used to work in print for 10 years, and I noticed the change, so I moved to digital, and print's now just becoming less and less. So it's where you're hedging your budgets with your marketing these days, less on print and, shall we say, traditional marketing, and more around digital marketing. Why? Because it's more trackable with digital marketing over paper-based. Paper-based marketing, if you were to send out a newsletter to somebody, how do you track that once it's left the office? Unless you're going to do recorded delivery for each newsletter, which I doubt you will. Okay, so with digital, we're able to track all aspects of the medium. So, understanding where your clients are coming today. This is a great tool that we use on client sites before we actually start doing a redesign typically. It's called heat mapping. There's such things out there called crazy egg as well. I know this looks like somebody under some biology microscope, but what this is the old conscious site. And we needed to understand why maybe some elements of our site were not converting. What these hot points mean isn't where they've clicked, it's actually where the mouse has been trailing around on the website. So it's understanding what we call a call to action, where they click and go through, but also what areas are they finding most interesting. So they're not clicking through on our tips booklets, or, by the way, this is the old conscious site, or the content areas here. And this was our content and call to action buttons, but not many people were clicking on it. They were actually clicking up here and over the navigation and some of our local blogs that we were creating or daily blogs down here. So it's understanding your site's performance. When a site goes live, we actually put this on some of our client sites to understand where they're going. So it's all about testing a website. There's no true rule of thumb with websites because every law firm or every website, what you're trying to achieve may be different. So the heat mapping will help you understand where your clients are going and where they're clicking, and then maybe moving some of the call to actions if you're looking for a lead generating website. Typically, costs for this, if that's a burning question from yourself, will be around about £30 to £40 once, but you run it for 6 weeks and then you basically will go through the data afterwards. So, directional clues. This is becoming more and more obvious for a lot of people. If you were to go on your website, how would you know where to click or what to do? It may be obvious to yourself or a marketing individual, but put your hands, or should we say, put yourselves in the position of your client. Can they find the information they want? So we've got directional clues on there. So the arrow, click here for further information, or play the video, click here. On new websites, we are now seeing the 3 white lines, horizontal lines in the top right or left-hand corner. This is called the hamburger. Google coined that phrase, but it's also the navigation. However, we know that, but does the client know that it's the navigation, or the menu, as some people are now calling it? So it's putting elements in there so the client can find exactly what they need effectively and more efficiently. Google are now saying that they need to, for a client to find what they want, they need to find it in under 3 clicks. If they're not able to do that, they're more likely to disappear from your site and then search elsewhere. So it's making the client able to find everything that you need within 3 clicks. Next element. Again, Tilly Bailey Irvine, they actually won a digital award in the Northeast, and they've now been shortlisted for a further award. Now, understanding, what I find with a lot of law firms is, yes, you've got your address on there, but it doesn't tell me, do you have parking? How do I get to your offices? It's making all these things different, but also helping your client find where your offices are, okay? If you're in the middle of, shall we say, Mayfair, putting on there, obviously, what tube will get you there, or what number bus is there. We know there's not parking, but what if somebody's never been to Mayfair and they don't know if there's parking allocated around there? Putting this information in there helped your client. They don't have to then go search for parking. Or worse off, if they phone up and say, do you have parking allocated? And this I have heard is when someone said, we do, but it's for partners only. That's not great, is it? So having this little bit of information, it just helps your clients find out, okay, brilliant, I'll catch this bus or I'll get this tube or this train to your offices with parking that's available as well. The other part with Google Maps is this is what's called Google Local. So some people say, oh, I'm on Google, but you're not really on Google. All you've got is this little teardrop. This is what's called Google Local, where we have the name of the firm, we've got the NAP, which is the name, address, and phone number, okay? And you can click through and it'll take you into a larger map. We've got these telephone numbers. If we're viewed on a mobile, you can click and they click the call, okay? So this is all what we call Google Local, and Google is encouraging more businesses to be on this because it's giving the visitor the information they need straight away, rather than just having the little teardrop that's within a 100-meter radius of the office. Simplified forms. A question I get asked a lot is, how much information should I ask of my clients? Well, the rule of thumb is the more questions you ask, the less likely they are going to engage with you, okay? So typically what we ask is just a name, an email, and a phone number. And with us, we're slightly different. Being an agency, we want to know what your biscuit preference is if you come in and see us. We know of only 2 law firms that have done this now, this biscuit form, and I tell you what, it has gone fantastic with their clients and within the firm. So if you've got a client coming in to see you, go that extra mile. Ask them what their favorite biscuits are. You could stock up on bourbons or custard creams, whatever it may be, but it's making that client feel more welcome. And then we've got the spam, which I know is a love-hate thing. People hate to put this spam filter in there, but it is a necessary evil. Because unfortunately, there is no 100% spam guarantee. There are people that are paid out there to spam your site. But having this on there does prevent a large portion of the automated spam. Having forms as well is a crucial way of knowing that a client does want to engage with you and contact you. You can have what we call a free form text, so maybe a box underneath where they want to type in what their problem is. The only issue I slightly have with that is they may type in their war and peace about what their issue is, and you don't have time to go through all of that, or they may not speak to you again afterwards. So I would limit that to a number of characters, maybe 200 characters that they can type in there, then you basically follow up that contact form. The other thing with the contact form, ensure it goes through to the right department or the right person. Do not have it coming through to reception. If reception takes a lunch, mandatory lunch between 12 and 1, or they finish at 4 o'clock, I recommend you have them coming through to a fee earner or one of the senior partners, and then it's distributed out afterwards. Reasoning, they tend to have more of a priority when these forms come in rather than a receptionist. And also, if there's a burning question on there, or legal, an emergency illegal question, how do you deal with it? Is the receptionist going to deal with it in that sense? Not saying they don't do a great job, but it's probably not the right people for it to come through to. So responsive design. We've heard a lot about mobiles in the last 18 months. If your website is not responsive and your competitor's site is, your competitor's site will rank higher in Google. That is now fact. As of April 2015, mobile, we've seen the mobile trend, and now this year, we have seen mobile traffic take over desktop traffic. So that means, going back to the previous slide, basically more people, like we said, are viewing on a mobile device and more screen-based rather than their desktop. The way traffic now runs is people will look on a mobile device, then they'll go to a desktop, back to a mobile, they'll think about it for a few weeks, and then they'll come back to mobile. So they don't just go directly mobile, desktop, and call you. What they will is they will bounce around the two, basically, for a few weeks, and then they engage with you, unless it's going to be a distress purchase that they need something sorting out. The other element of responsive is, do not just do your home page as a responsive design. The whole site needs to be responsive. Otherwise, if you get a responsive design and it's not responsive throughout, say if they click on your service pages and you have a lot of service pages, basically they're going to be trying to view a desktop website on a mobile or a tablet device. So ensuring you've got a great responsive design throughout, okay? Do take a look at TBI. They had a great strategy for their responsive site that we created, and it worked very well across multiple devices. So content. Now, content is still king of websites. Basically, Google likes to see content on websites grow slowly over time. They don't like lots of content shouting on the site and then that changing drastically again a couple of days later. These are various tips booklets that we create for clients, okay? We're drawn to mistakes rather than, 1,000 ways to get rich quick, all right? So blogging, creating news. By the way, if you have news on your website, okay, it needs to be dated. There's nothing worse than coming to your website and it says latest news 2013, okay? Latest news means this month, all right? So having regular updates, regular news. And I appreciate some people will say, I don't have time to write this. There's such thing as called ghost writers or guest bloggers. Get people to help write content for you. What I have found working with law firms is that juniors or junior associates love writing content. That doesn't mean that their content has to go on the site. What you would do is this content would be run past a partner. They then sign it off. Then it's uploaded onto the site. The partner gets their content, and the junior then feels a little bit, quite happy that their content is then published on the website. So it's kind of a, 2 for 1 in that sense. But the other part with content is it helps drive traffic to the website. So these particular areas, these tips booklets, basically you would have a downloadable document on the site. Do not use the term white paper or legal document, okay, because they do not sound engaging. Instead, have something visual, they click on, they download. It's not a case of then an email has to be sent to them. No, that was done in the 80s. What you do is you have a feature behind where they leave their contact details, they download it, or they're sent to a link, and then they click download the document, and it's automatically downloaded. The best part about that is they can download these documents in the evening, at the weekend, and they're not reliant on somebody sending them an email, okay? So video on website, video is still good, but what we are seeing is the decrease in the amount of video. So people are spending less time watching a video. In fact, videos are now becoming more instructional videos or storytelling rather than somebody blurting off, Article 3.2 of the SRA handbook. What they're now actually doing is having something called a doodle ad. It's a story video where you've got a problem or the client has a problem. The firm then talks about the solution, and then you've got the resolution at the end for the client. Okay, and these are done typically over 30 to 60 seconds. The idea with video is you do not embed or upload a video directly onto your website. Okay, law firm websites are not designed to have large amounts of memory taken up by a video. By the way, a video can take anything from 5 gig up to hundreds of gigabytes. Just to give you in comparison, that's hundreds of little USB memory sticks, okay? So what you need to do is upload it onto YouTube, which is a social media channel, and then you link it through from YouTube. Google likes this because 1, you tick optimization, and 2, you click social media, or as Google likes to call it, social circles, all right? YouTube is geared up for hosting videos. Your website is basically, it's just pulling in the link, and you watch the video within the website. So, secure forms. This technology, a gentleman called Richard Susskind, he talked about technology last year, and it's going to take over law firms over the next 5 years. He actually predicted 20 years ago that law firms will start sending legal documents via email, and everybody laughed. 5 years later, a lot of people were sending legal documents via email. Now he's predicting that lots of the legal process is going to be dealt online. So we've got online case management systems. Rather than sending documents backwards and forwards over email, which is not very secure for some firms, unless you've got the likes of Mimecast or a very secure cloud server, what people are now doing is they are doing secure forms. What this is a portal where the clients can give you the information from a form all online in their time. So when the client comes in, you have all this information to hand. You're taking the process out of the solicitor and having the client do it. Also, you're saving the client time. That doesn't mean you bill them less, just means that you're doing the process a lot quicker and more efficient for them. They're able to fill in a form, okay, online. They can save it. If the dog comes along and bites their leg, it can save it, and then they come back at a later date. But what this is, it helps, basically, you're able to track elements of this as well. So all of it's online. Rather than sending emails in their little fee earner and the clients, little silos backwards and forwards, other team members may have access to this and pick information up for whatever reason. Online payments. I still struggle why law firms close at lunchtime when that's probably the most convenient time for a client to come in and pay their fees. Typically for private clients, this is. I'm not expecting commercial law firms to do that. But having a client, giving them the out-of-hours payment option, they can pay you at the weekend. They can pay you at 3 o'clock in the morning if they wanted to. But also it will help with cash flow, okay? So if you've got a little, a little credit card Visa machine on the reception desk, ask yourself, how long does it take her to take, when she's taking that phone call, is she writing down the financial information? If she is, she's not allowed to be doing that. We have heard of instances, information is written down, it's then thrown in the bin. Oh, but I've gone through the credit card transaction, and then people have gone through their rubbish. Think of how much rubbish law firms throw away unless you get it securely destroyed. But what this will do is you can send the link with your billing, end of billing matter, and say to the client, you can pay online via this easy option. Or they can pay on account. By the way, this isn't the client for conveyancing firms. This isn't for them to be paying for their house through this, okay? We're not encouraging that. This is purely the legal fees that they pay through. But the other thing, it will improve on cash flow, okay? Your clients will be able to pay when they like, out of office hours, rather than, at the weekend when they want to pay you, but your offices are closed. Search. Now, more information is coming up on law firms' websites, okay? You're doing multiple services. So if you were to go to the Thrings website, I'll just show you now, what this is, we like to call it Search Site Plus. So up here, if I am to type in employment, okay, instead of it just showing everything with the word employment, what it will now show me is it will show me the expertise with the law firm. It will show me the people related to that service and any news and events that the law firm may actually have in there, and then other. But these are not just highlighting employment, it's giving me everything that they deal with around employment. And we do this we've based it on the information that clients look at first. So the expertise, they want to know how or what you do around employment, and then who the people are that are linked to it. Everything else is kind of second nature for it. Okay, so search is a very powerful tool. This isn't a Google search going out. This is searching within the website. Okay. Next one is calculators. This, a lot of people are worried about, well, I don't want my clients seeing my prices, or, what if my competitors can see my prices? If they can't see them, they will find them out one way, shape, or form. A lot of firms are now embracing this if you're doing fixed fee conveyancing. I appreciate there's some law firms out there that probably don't want to do conveyancing calculators for, if you're dealing with high net worth individuals or an affluent area. However, this helps understand if your clients are going to engage with you. The idea is they can type in their purchase price, selling a home, remortgage, whatever it may be. Then it generates a quote for them. But you put this little form in front, kind of like compare the market or gocompare.com. You put in a little bit of information first, then you go and get your quote. What this does is it will generate a quote with terms and conditions. They can download that quote, click on a button to contact me about the quote, or ask further questions. Either way, you're getting the client to engage further with you rather than them trying to find a price on the website. By the way, more and more visitors are now searching, and they are doing what we call peer review. So they will shop around for certain legal services, and conveyancing is up there at the highest one where people are looking. Obviously, with a lot of house prices and things changing at the moment, they want to get the best service and deal at that same time as they possibly can. So I briefly talked to you about Google Analytics at the beginning, okay? So Google Analytics, again, it is free, but if you're, say, for example, you were to do everything that I've just kind of gone through, but you don't have analytics on your website, how do you know how your website is behaving? Oh, Maureen, you've lost the screenshot. Hopefully it will catch up with you in a second. Can you see Google Analytics on there at the moment, if you can reply? So Google Analytics is basically, it will show me over here, we've got where my traffic's coming from, so social, brilliant, excellent, Maureen. Email, organic search. Organic search is related to SEO, search engine optimization. Okay, it's where you would also do your AdWords if you're doing pay-per-click. But you can view so much information by Google Analytics. You can go a little bit OTT on it and start looking at daily, which I do not recommend. You can set up automated reports. All our clients receive an automated report monthly to understand how their website is behaving, okay? You've got bounce rates. A bounce rate is when a client comes to the site, but they don't click on anything. Rule of thumb, if your bounce rate is above 50%, you need to start looking at your website and wondering why. Is it because your call to actions are not in the right place? Contact numbers aren't visible. You know, your other aspects of them getting engaged on the website are just too clunky, all right? So Google Analytics is a fantastic tool. There are other tools out there that you can use. In particular, this one. It's called Candy. So once I've understood how much traffic the website is getting, that's great. It's great that I get thousands of visitors every week, but I want to know exactly who is looking at my website. So this is something that we've partnered with called Candy. Technical term is reverse lookup IP. These wonderful computers, laptops, iPhones, all have what we call an IP number, okay? That's like a telephone number or a thumbprint for electronic devices. What I'm able to do is somebody clicks on a link that is taking them to my website, Candy will start tracking them, okay? Then I can start understanding who that is. And what it will do is it will pull in the information, who the individual is, what firm they work for, are they on social media, but it will also show them coming back to the website, and it will notify me every time they return. So not only now am I understanding who or how much traffic I'm getting, but I'm also understanding who is looking at my website. Now, everybody says, is this legal? Of course it's legal. It wouldn't be, we wouldn't be working with it if we found out it was illegal, especially within the legal sector. But I'm now able to understand what my clients are looking at on my website. So instead of them coming and going, how can I help you? What are you looking for? And talking to them about all 30 services, I can talk to Joe Bloggs, who's looking at X, and discuss that with him. I've now, shall we say, laser guided my understanding of that client rather than doing the scattered gun approach. This is a fantastic tool. We're seeing more and more firms use it, especially commercial law firms. So if you're doing pitch bids against, or with a large client or a potential client, this helps you understand what they're looking for. And every time they're returning back to the site, so it gives you a little bit more insight and obviously a little bit more confidence. If they're coming and returning, then you understand that, they may either work with you or they want to know a little bit more information. It also helps with cross-selling. So I know selling is a dirty word in a law firm, but what happens if you're dealing with one client who has bought one piece of or a service from you for years, And then suddenly they start looking at another service that you had no idea about. You're starting to build a picture of that client and understanding. So I haven't had any questions yet, so I'm fingers crossed everybody can hear me at the moment. How will you improve your client's journey? Is it going to be a better call to actions, forms for them to fill in? Is it going to be going responsive if your site isn't responsive? If I was running a law firm, I would want my website to be responsive, okay? Some clients say to me, oh, well, you know, my audience is 60-plus individuals. That's great, but what happens about the new clients that are coming through, the new referral chains that can be coming through? They will be using mobile devices, okay? So looking at a responsive website is going to be a crucial part. The other aspects, the calculators, the bill pay, the search, these are all just tools that you're helping to improve your client's journey. And then ultimately, Candy is like a digital nirvana. You're understanding where your clients are going, what they want, and who it actually is looking at your site. Okay? Here's my top tips for you. Review your website. We offer a website health check report completely free of charge as part of our ticket partnership. So all I need you to do is basically send through to me what your website link, who your competitors are, because I can actually benchmark your website against your competitors, and it will also tell me your social media interaction and social media, what your competitors are doing. Nothing better than understanding what the competition are doing out there. And please, nobody tell me that they don't have competitors. Everybody has competitors. How does your site look on mobile? Take a look. Take out your phone and view it. Okay? Ask your clients, are there any aspects of our site you think we can improve? Again, it's them that are going to be using it. What are the problems? So reviewing your call to actions aspects on there. Get Google Analytics. If you don't have it, take a look and start reviewing it. People say to me, oh, I look at my analytics every 6 months. That's too long. That is a lifetime in the digital world. I would review it monthly or bi-monthly at the very latest. Because how can you understand what works or doesn't work if you're only looking at something every 6 months? That's like going to the gym every 6 months and saying, well, I'm losing weight. Technically, you're not, because you're only going once every 6 months. And then number 4 there, don't do huge changes, okay? Because just because one thing works this week and then suddenly you want to change it and, you know, make it look something special the following week, it can be confusing to existing visitors. With changes, make small changes, because a small change, if you make a mistake, it's very minor and small mistakes cost less. You know, if you do a big change and it's going to be costly, that's very hard to recover from. Okay, so those would be my, it says 5 tips on there. Sorry, the number 1 has been duplicated twice, but those are my top 5 tips if you were going to be looking at improving your client's journey.